So I saw this design, and the way it was made, I realized I could make it slightly easier with a little bit less markings and a little bit larger on your paper. So the way it was made, there were circles everywhere, 4 circles, and the design was so small in the middle, and I realized because it's based on 12, we can actually make it a slightly different way. So let me show you how. First, we want to find the center of our paper. You could use a ruler because you want your shape to be in the middle of your paper. And you're going to use your compass to make a circle. And the circle will be as big as you would like the design to be. So I'm going to make mine pretty much as big as the paper. So you start with a circle. And those who are familiar with geometry, you know that 6 circles fit evenly, perfectly around a circle. You could try with a quarter. 6 quarters will fit around a quarter. So we're going to use that to make 6 even markings around without moving our compass and opening or closing it. I like to make sure that the top is centered, so I'm going to use my ruler to find more or less the top of this circle. When I do that, I'm going to make a marking, and I'll do so on both sides. And I'm just going to go around to where the marking meets the circle and make 6 even markings around. Now with any construction, the more careful you are to get the compass just right, the more accurate your picture will be. So here are 5, and we got to make sure that the very first one we mark, because it only had a little hole from the point of the compass. And now we want to do 6 more, so we want to find the middle of one of the 2 spaces that we marked. I'm going to close my compass a bit and go a little bit past the middle so that the markings out here, it's easier to erase. And I'm going to make an arc. I'm going to go to the other side and repeat that process. And if like this they don't meet, I just go back and make the first one a bit longer. So I'm not going to draw a whole line. I'm just going to line up my ruler and make a marking here. I tell my students if you put your pencil down first and then line up your ruler, it tends to be more accurate, unless you're really comfortable and used to your ruler. So that's the middle of these 2 points. I'm going to adjust my compass back to what it was with my first circle and make sure that it is exactly the same. So it's a little small, and that looks like it's it. So it's important that we put our compass back to the exact same size that we started with. And I'll just test it. Now we're going to put the compass marking here, or the compass point here where the marking we found is, and go around again 6 more times. I could swing it around here just to save a second. So now there are 12 all the way around. We're going to make a square by connecting the top to the left, to the bottom, to the right. And we're going to do that 3 times. Sorry, my neighbor's dog is beginning to bark. You might hear that. He does not like people walking by.
So we start with 1 square, and
we're going to repeat that 3 times, or 2 more times. So I like to look at the top and go 1 to the left. And I'm going to connect from here. I'm going to look here and go 1 left, or counterclockwise. And we're going to connect the lines to make a second square, and then we'll do that one last time. So if this is the corner, we go 1 past it. And if this is the corner, we go 1 past it. And when we're done, we will do that one last time so that we have a total of 3 squares, and it'll have a 12-sided star. So as you notice, I'm using pencil in case we do make a mistake, and we can go back over it in pen when we're done. And I'm going to connect the third one, whichever ones are left over, and that will make 12. So we have a nice star, 12 points. The next step is very simple. We're going to adjust our compass and put the point here in between the 2 points of a star. You could do this on any corner. And we're going to adjust the radius to the middle, right here where it's in between the point of the star. And you want to get it as accurate as you can. And you could draw a whole circle, but I'm just going to draw part of a circle. And we're going to use this. You could erase it later. I'm going to put the compass point back in the center and open my compass to make a circle that is tangent. A tangent circle means it's going to touch this semicircle in just one point, like two balls that are perfectly inflated standing on top of each other. And if we want, we can erase this one because it is not needed other than to find the tangent. But you can do that later if you're going to go over it in pen. It'll be easy as you erase a lot of the markings. So now we're going to make 12 more markings, and we're going to go in between the 2 points of the star to find the position. So I'm going to line up the ruler in between these two. We know we're going the right direction if it goes through the center. And I'm just going to mark the smaller circle so I don't have to erase as much. So I'll go here and here as well. We go through the middle. And we go here. And oops, sorry. Here. Here. We're going to go in between the 2 points of the star. We'll line it up with the center. So again, in between the 2 stars, I almost made another mistake. That's why we have erasers. And the last one. So now we have 12 even markings that were basically in between the 2 markings we first made with, or that we first made. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make parallel lines. And we're going to make this diamond shape as we go. So I'm going to use these markings, but I'm going to go all the way up to that line above it. And I'm going to go from here and line it up. And I'm going to keep going. I didn't at this one, so I need to keep going here. So if I show you what I'm doing, right, we're making this little pentagonal shape, 5-sided shape. 1, 2, 3, 4, oh no, 6-sided shape. And we're going to do that all the way around. So I'll rotate it, and I'll go here to here. You notice it's 1 to the left. And then here and here. You can see the lines are parallel to the ruler. You know or will see that you're doing it right. So I'll rotate it again. And I move it over here. I again will see that the ruler's parallel with those lines. So now here's another one. And this is our basic design. So one little thing we're going to do, we don't have to do it now, but we're going to erase the little marking in between this little triangle. And to do what I'm going to show you, which is what I saw. Oops, I went a bit past here. Let me fix that. What I saw on the video that I had originally learned this construction, I'll put a link to that. Just, I appreciate that I learned this from that person. I realized that if you're just going to use a pen, you could use this design and that's it. But he shows a really cool thing where you weave in and out so it looks even cooler. And I noticed when they do that, they tend to erase the middle. And you could just do that later on. I'll continue and show you how you could weave it in and out. If you'd like, you can erase the circle. Or you could erase them later, like I said. But you're essentially going to get something like this, and some people will fill in the inside, some will not. It's just your preference and what kind of design you'd like. So that's how you can make the construction, but the more time-consuming part will be actually shading it in. So this is the finished design. I erased the insides here. You could always do that later. So someone else who did this, where I first learned this video, he shades it in an alternating pattern, so it kind of looks like it's weaving in and out. So you would normally use a ruler to do this, but he would say you could start anywhere. I'll start here. I'm gonna go through this first line. However, I'm gonna alternate. Now the next line I get to, I'm gonna let the other one go through. And so I will stop a bit short. And again, you wanna use a ruler to do this. So then I'll keep going. And again, you want to leave a little tiny gap in between. And again, you would want to probably use a ruler. You know, you could line up the ruler like this, just to make sure that you're drawing straight lines. So one tip might be to use either the little millimeter or here, the smaller ones, to line up your ruler. So if you wanted to ask, well, how can I get an even line? So I'm going to line it up to the centimeter side, to these little millimeters. And if I line that up, it'll ensure that the line that I'm drawing is going to be straight. And then I could turn the ruler around and do the same thing this way. So you want to do something to make sure the thickness of your line is even. I figured I'd mention that. And then shade in between. So I went through this line and then I let this one gap. So then I'm gonna go through this one. So every other one you go through and every other one you let gap. So maybe here on this one, not maybe, but on this one, we're gonna let it take a gap and go through this way. And what you'll end up having is a pretty neat weaving pattern that goes in and out. And it makes for a much nicer design when you shade it in. So I'll go through and do that. So here I went through. I'm going to keep going. But on this one, I'm going to let it go through here. So here I went through the line. Here I'm going to leave a little gap like I had mentioned. So going this way, I'm going to go through the line. And then make a little gap going down, and then go through this one. So every other one you will alternate, and you're going to see it's going to have a neat design as a result. So let me go through and finish this, and I'll show you sort of the end result. And so rather than filling it in, I actually didn't shade it, but I did do that pattern where you go under, go over, go under, go over, and it sort of makes that weaving design. So this is a cool design using a compass and a straight edge, and I hope you can even add to it. I know some people will decorate with different designs. Maybe I'll do that and add to it in the video. Enjoy.